I gave some thought about what I ought to say, and I thought, well, we have to talk about the day that these young people came into this world. It was a lovely day in May, wasn't it? I wanted to get that in because I'm responsible for the error that was made on one of these shirts. No, it was a lovely day. But we had milked, we had fed ourselves, we had completed all the chores, neighbors had arrived, Wilma and Opal had been whisked away somewhere, I don't know where they were going. James and I were old enough to know what was going on. The blinds were pulled in the house, hot water was boiling. And finally Dad said, get the crosscut saw, get the axe, the wedge, go down to the maple flat and start cutting wood for the winter. Well, this was in 25, and I would have been then 14 years and some months. A Smarla Lake, in other words. And I said to my father, we don't cut wood this time of the year, we cut it in August. Well, I won't say what my father said, but he got my attention, and we got the saw, and we got the axe, and so on, and he said, take a jug of water, because you may be down there for a while. So we trudged off to the maple flat, to the woods, to cut a tree. Now listen, don't think there were two Paul Bunyans going down there to destroy that woodlot. It didn't happen, and I don't think our father thought it was going to happen. Well, to make that story short, James and I went down there, we selected a little tree and cut it over, cut some limbs off of it, cut off a block or two of wood. Now, time passed, it's noon and it's afternoon, so we must have spent a lot of time, and we did, talking about what was going on up to the house, and were we going to have a sister, or were we going to have a little brother? Our father had said, when you hear the foxhorn, you may not know what a foxhorn is, but so when you hear the foxhorn, you may come home. Well, this foxhorn was a cow horn that had been cleared out and the end cut off, and if you blow in it, it made quite a good sound. And so, but they used this when they were fox hunting to call the dogs in. We heard the horn. So we reported home. We had to take care of the tools, oil them, clean them, put them up. And we went out to the well to pump some water, and our father arrived and said, go on down to the house. They've got some meal waiting for you down there, and you have a little sister. Ah! And we went down and met our sister, Mona Fay. Mona, I looked all over for a foxhorn. I didn't find one, but well, some few years later, well, it wasn't that long, one November day, the same thing was happening in the house. The blinds were being pulled, the hot water was being boiled, and everybody trudging off, but most of us got on the school bus to go to school at Odin. This was my senior year, and we were on the school bus and headed for Odin, and we were going by what is called the Thompson place. And some children said, look, there goes Dr. Hamilton. Wonder where he's going. Well, of course, those on the bus knew exactly where he was going. So, and during the day, I guess, we chatted about who would be home, little boy, little girl. But we didn't hear at school, and we arrived home, and guess who was there? Edward T. Edward T. Now I have 1,001 little tales I could tell about Edward T, but I can't. Obviously, I will not tell them all. Let it be said that his brothers picked on him. We teased him. We did all kinds of nonsensical things, which we've never done. You can see how it's affected his life. Think what he would have been if he hadn't had us as brothers. Well, we used to tease him at night. We'd get in bed, and he was in his little trundle bed, and we'd tease him and tell him about the bear was going to come through during the night and get him. And sometimes we'd go to bed tired and we wouldn't do anything, and Tom would say, "You think the bear's coming tonight?" So, and then he was crying, and Dad threatened to horsewhip all three of us. So that would be the end of an evening. I was the old settlers. Tom was along. They had an airplane taking people up for a ride. And I said, "Tom, you'll have to go for a ride?" And he said, "Oh yeah." So we went up the ride. There's a nice little cabin plane. And I was sitting on the side, and I said, "Tom, look down. Down there's the Hugunin drugstore." And the pilot, of course, just turned the plane up like that to see. Tom was grabbing for everything, Finally got settled down. He said, "I should have fallen out of there for sure." I used to mow the fence rows, and he'd follow along behind with the grubbing hoe, because Dad made us grub all the shrubs out. And this is a mean thing. See, you picked on him. And go along, and I'd disturb a hornet's nest. I never said anything, just keep going. And of course, he'd arrive when the hornets were at their, or the wasps were at their worst. And then we had a thing. One day I took his pants off and threw him up in a maple tree. And here's this poor boy, of course without pants, but here was a poor boy with no one to play with, really. And we'd come in and he was teasing us. He'd say, "You think you would take my pants off?" Well, you know what happened. Oh, they were at the top of the tree. That's enough, Tom.
Now, I'm going to tell part of the story about their births too. I figured Elbert and I'd come up the same, but our versions are the same, except our experiences were different. So I'm going to tell mine. I'm coming across okay? Okay. And I wrote it out so I wouldn't forget it.
All right.
It wouldn't take me so long.
Be a star.
What?
You can be a star.
Getting going here in a minute.
Be a star.
It was a beautiful, beautiful, warm, sunny day when I came home from school one afternoon in the spring of 1925. Mother had been sewing, which wasn't unusual, but this time she told me she was making baby clothes for the baby that the stork was going to bring us to our house in June. Well, I waited anxiously for this event. And then on June the 17th, now I'll tell you where we went. Wilma and I were sent to Randy Pownell's and to visit her and the neighbors, or our daughters. And while we were there, sure enough, the stork brought a baby to our house, a little girl, beautiful little girl. And I was delighted to have another sister. Mother let me help take care of Mona Fay. She would say that when I was right. Oh, you disappoint. I love it. She didn't disappoint me. Anyway, she let me take care of her, and it was a joy and a fun learning experience. Now, I'm 9 years old. I forgot to tell you. He's 14. He knows something. I don't. I'm a very innocent little girl. I believed in the story. I didn't know any different at that point. And so that's my version of her coming into this world. Mona, you're a good sister and a special friend. And it's been a pleasure to share the joys and consolation of sorrows and with you and the happiness of life for 70 years. See, I've known her whole 70 years. No matter what happens, and you just go back and you look in your albums, she's always smiling. Go through all your pictures in the albums. You'll see a smile on nearly every one of them on his face. And I think that's great, because once in a while I do mine just to see that smile again. So here's the mementos to help you remember your growing up years, and for the beauty and something of life, wonder of life. And don't open it till Tom opens his. Okay, take down. No, you can't. There's one thing in there, you're sharing the same kind of gift, so she's not going to open it until you know why, whenever you see it. Now, the stork liked our house so much that it returned on November 29th, 1926, and left us another baby. And his mother had not told me about this expected event. And I wasn't well versed in the way of the stork. I was surprised when I came home from school that afternoon and here was a baby brother in bed with mother.
How come I didn't tell you? Why didn't I tell you? How come I told you?
I wish you had. I didn't know. I probably was too busy taking care of Mona. Tom, having you as a brother to love, rock, and help take care of has given me a lot of pleasure. And I've always been everything to that stork. And so, Tom, here's some mementos and for your gift, and also something for you to remember where your roots are.
Give me one of those chairs like Joyce said.
That's Scar.
Scar, give me a big old chair.
Am I next?
Oh boy.
You want on the stage?
You know it better than anybody. He was a ripper.
Oh, I can't speak in that mic. Can you hear me? I'm
Can hear you.
For God's sake.
Can hear you. Can hear you.
I don't know how to speak in the mic, and that was worse than that. My dad taught me how to yell in the car. Pulling yellow top. Well, unlike Opal, I knew this baby was coming because there was Ethel Jolliffe and Randy Pano that used to kid me and make me cry and say, "You're not going to be the baby anymore."
Yeah.
You know, what are you going to be? You're not going to be the baby anymore. And I said, well, I'm damn glad I'm not going to be the baby. I want to be grown up. I always wanted to be grown up because I was going to go to school that fall, and I wanted to be grown up. Instead of that, they tell me you're going to cry because you're not the baby. Well, Mona came home and we had the baby, and she was the prettiest thing I ever laid my eyes on. She had big brown eyes and peachy pink cheeks, and she was beautiful. And I was happy, and I've always been happy. Now, I'm not going to tell about those years when she and I went out together. I'm not going to tell about that. You know how if I don't tell it? Yeah, I'm not going to tell it. I'll just tell that in the sad years, we're going to forget that. We're not going to talk about it. And we're going to talk about when Arthur came in her life. And when Art came and gave these 3 children a father, another father, and it was beautiful that he would come in her life and make it whole again. So that's all I'm going to tell. So, you know, I don't have any talent. I can't make things like Mona makes. She makes needlepoint and all kinds of stuff. And I can't do that. But Uncle Sam sent me to school, and he taught me to design. So I made this for you, Mona. Maybe too much. Take it off. It's too hot. Too hot. Too hot. And here's you can roll up in, honey. Now, as for Tom. Oh, yeah. I'm not going to talk about those childish years when he was a little boy. I'm going to talk about when he was grown up. And I can't remember what year it was, but I was home from California on vacation. And Tom was here, and he was crying on my shoulder. He said, Mom's telling me what to do, and Dad's telling me what to do. And he said, I don't know what the hell to do. And I said, you come with me to California and stay with me until you get located. You can live with me for as long as it takes. So he came, and he was there 2 days. And he said, well, I think I should go downtown in Sacramento and look around, check out the IBM and all of these computer places and see what they got to offer for an experienced man. And I said, fine, because the next day would be my day off, and I planned to take him up in the gold country. We'd go look at the Whiskey Town and what's that other place, Hangtown Fry, and all those wonderful places where they had the gold. And I said, fine. You do that, we'll do that the next day when I'm off. Well, when I came home from work that night, I said, were you down by the inn? And he said, yeah. I was down there. And he said, they liked me. I said, well, I expected them to call me all day, you know, to identify you. And he said, they gave me the keys. I got the keys to IBM. And I'm going to start tomorrow, and we can't go up to Hangtown.
Well, let me say, she's kind of screwed it up just a little. But the next morning, I went downtown, and the next morning, we're sitting there having coffee, getting ready to get out and go, and the phone rang. And the man on the phone says, can you wire a 602A? And I said, yes. And he says, get down here because the man got called back to Portland and we need the machine wired. And I went to work.
And he's been working ever since. So it wasn't long after that until he went down to San Francisco. He was looking for a little more sophisticated place. And so then is when he met Louise, and, well, it's history. I don't have to tell anymore. It's history after that, and all beautiful. But I got for you, Tom, to remind you of when Dad lets you out of the cornfield and lets you go to Nebo on Sunday morning.
I thought you were going to say when he left the pony tied up all day.
I wasn't going to tell that. I'm going to tell everything. That's where he sang all those gorgeous songs. Oh, Tommy, what can I tell you? Will you do it? Yeah. We could tell a lot of stories, but we're not going to tell all of them.
Okay, I think it's my turn to do Tom.
Oh, I got it.
Okay, so Albert, you almost did it on me. Because I remember this Sunday, and we were all together. Tom, or Albert was there, and James was there, and we were having dinner, always at Mom's, you know, a big dinner. But Daddy always took a walk on Sunday morning around the farm to see if he needed fence work done or anything. So the three boys went with him. Only Tom rode Old Topsy. And he went out to the new ground, and he tied her to the gate so they could walk down through the field. They didn't come back through that gate. They walked around, they came back, and they ate. We got in Albert's car and James' car and went to see the stopper, you know, the dam up on Greenwood. My husband won't let me say dam. He says, you got to say stopper. So we all went up there to see that. We came back. Tom had to go get the cows in for that night to milk. He gets down there. Topsy's bridle's not on the gate. And he sat there a while, and finally he says, hey, Dad, I left Old Topsy tied in the new ground. He did. But I'm not going to tell all those silly things. He said the other day he didn't remember me growing up, so I guess I didn't.
Sorry about that.
Well, you know, I really don't remember Mona Fay growing up. Because, you know, I was kind of out in the field working all the time, and I really don't remember. But I do recall a couple of little things that happened. Some days, Mom would go into town, and she'd leave Mona to clean up the house. And I really don't know what was going on, but she'd clean up the house and lock all of us kids out. She wouldn't want to let us in. Now, I'm not sure about what she was in there preparing to go out that night with her boyfriend or something. But anyway, this actually happened. And then one little night, I remember an incident of a car kind of going down over the hill. And I don't know the two people that was in it, but I think they were preoccupied. Mona, I got a little thing for you here that it took a little while to find. But this is...
Well, for heaven's sake, the Floyd Mason jar. Oh, here's a jar.
Is it my turn now?
It's my turn.
Can you hear me? Okay. Well, I'm going to tell about when Mona and Carl got married, because I remember it probably better than anyone here. Joanne Hatfield, which is Peggy and Joetta's mother, was over visiting me. It was after school one evening, and Mona came in the bedroom and she said, I've got something to tell you. She said, Carl and I got secretly married 3 days ago. Of course, Carl has already left for the service because it was World War II. So she said, what am I going to do?
You think I dare tell Daddy? And I said, "You'd better tell him." So we waited till Herman and Margaret and Joanne went home, and so we proceeded to go out in the dining room, and Daddy sitting in his big chair and Mother there, and Mona said, "I have something to tell you." Of course, I'm just trying to remember this. It's not word for word, of course. And she told him. So there was a few tears, and Daddy was worried. He said, "You know, when they go to war, you don't know if they'll come home, and you don't know if they'd be hurt or whatever." But we survived that all right, and but I do remember that night really well.
But you want me to tell you what happened later?
What happened later?
I heard Daddy say to Mom when they went to bed, "Is she pregnant?"
Uh-oh, I didn't know about that. Yeah.
Daddy could never whisper. You know,
Yeah.
could never whisper.
Well, maybe he wanted her to hear, too.
Don't tell the answer. I can tell you the answer.
She's the answer, right. So anyway, that's what happened, and then you went ahead and graduated, and in the spring, when Carl was stationed in New Mexico, she went on a train down there to him, and I know Mom and Dad were so worried to put her on a train. You know, she's 17 years old, and so that was a big worry for them. But you know, the trains were full of servicemen and wives going to their husbands, so she was safe. So I always write the poems, you know, so I'll have Mona's poem now.
Daddy didn't say if he's not busy on horsewhipping.
Well, he might have said that too. To Mona. June 17th, 1925, June 17th, 1995. James and Albert were sent out to cut wood. They argued, and Dad said, "Don't be slow." To Randy's, Wilma, and Opal were sent. This is what happened June 17th, 70 years ago. Daddy called everyone home, and there was this new little girl. We've heard Wilma was almost in tears. She didn't want to give up her special place as the baby for the past 6 years. Mona, you grew into a beautiful young girl. You were very popular in school. The boys came and went around the home place, but you were nobody's fool. But on the 17th day of June, on your 17th birthday, lucky day seemed to apply. You met Carl on that summer day. From then on, no one else needed to try. There was lots of fun in that summertime, but war came way too fast. Those years were full of worries and tears, but you were happy when he was home at last. You became a wife and life seemed to be good. The babies came and you settled down, but Carl wanted an Air Force career, so you left the life of a small town. Not only am I proud of you as my sister, but we became sister-in-laws as well. It was quite a lot of life with the boys. There's lots of things that we could tell. You always were able to adjust to new things, and off you went with hope and heart. You were able to handle the tragedy that came. Then again, you made a new start. And I remember well the day Art came to call. You were worried about what Dad would say. But Art passed the test, and we all said, "He's a keeper, don't let him get away." I know your life has had its ups and downs, and the ups seem to have always went out on top. You have the love and support of your large family group. They'll keep you up, so don't ever stop. So remembering sharing all the memories, wonderful times, and remembering when, if anyone asked me what I would want from my past, would be to have you for my sister all over again.
Right, Mara.
Well, I don't know about Tom here. I just wanted to say that Tom and I, we had it rough. Being born between Mona, who was already a beautiful girl and already established in the family, and Tom and I just kind of drifted along, and we became the best of friends as well as brother and sister. And there is lots of things I could probably dredge up about him, but I'm not going to do it. I'll read my poem, and most of that will say what it means. Need to play 'em there?
Oh, can you
Give me a little hint. No, I'm going to. To Tom, November 29th, 1926. And I got it right, too. November 29th, 1996. Doc Hamilton came in a hurry on a cold winter day. After 3 girls, I'm sure Ern would have been heard to say, "This is just what I wanted," and probably shouted with joy when he heard Elma say, "I have given you a boy." Now, we have heard all the stories over the years, how you could bring the family to tears. You had so many accidents, you kept Doc on the go. Mom always worried if you would ever grow. We felt that you wanted to be number 1 or burst. Number 1 to get to the hospital first. Appendix out, tonsils 2, and 2 times fractured your arm. Also a collarbone broken and a pitchfork did you harm. When you opened the gate, the mules always wanted to race, or you would have to chase them all over the place. Never, never let you help with a gun. We'll let Helen tell you how she had to run. After all those times you knew how to pull through and came out a winner of all that you do. School teachers were proud, and I can still hear them tell how you excelled in math and sang solos so well. I was proud of you in the World War II years, so happy you found something in the Navy for a later career. I wish James were here to tell about you in San Francisco when his ship came through. You had quite a family life over the years, sons and daughters, grandchildren, and it appears you have made a mark in the computer trade. A happy, prosperous life you have made. As I was growing up, I thought of you as the best. You always helped me through when I was put to the test. I've always thought of you as a friend, as well as my brother. I know I could count on you as no other. So I hope in retirement you found it the best to wet a line, push a ball around, or sit back and rest. 70 is just a number, so don't let it get you down. Make it a happy year and spread it around. So now at your celebration, I give you my bit. I love you a lot, never doubt it. I'm glad I'm your sister, and had I made the call, I'd say give me you for my brother any time at all.
I've got all the goodies to tell about him now. Well, it's like, I'm going to tell like Tom told, because Mona did. She locked us out of the house every Saturday afternoon. But you know how little kids are. We're so hungry, and we'd go to the basement. We'd go around the back and go down in the basement, and we'd get us an old potato sandwich. Now, why that was so good, I don't know, but that's what we did. But as I grew up then, I finally, we used to call Mona Monkey Faye, by the way, didn't we? But as we grew older then, we really became good friends. And I have to say, when Dale was in the Army, she took me to the hospital to have Lauren, and she sat with me all the time. Must have been hard. And then she took care of, helped me when we had Janet. And Janet grew up, and you know how Mona can be so good at all the needlework she does, and do the crocheting and everything. Janet said to me one day, she said, "Well, Mama, why can't you be clever like Aunt Mona?" Isn't that terrible? And she also came and stayed when I was going to have Eric and helped me take care of him. So she's really been a big sister and helped me out a lot. One of the things that I want to give her. Now the story how Mom and Dad met was they used to sing in the bar at Scotland all the time. And this is and Mama used to make eyes at Dad. You know Mama's big brown eyes. And this is the songbook that they had, and it has Mr. Ern Hugunin on the front and Miss Elma Dowden on the back. So I want to give this to Mama. And then another thing I want to give her. One time all of us kids got together and we gave Mother a mother's pin. So I decided, well, how appropriate. And I got to counting Mona's children and her grandchildren, and it just came out even that I could have it all redone and fix it for Mona and her grandchildren. Her and I has to share June on top.
stories about Tom. May really hit it when she talked about how many accidents he had all the time at home with broken arms and all this. We grew up together, different things that we did all the time, and I remember especially one Christmas we wanted to croquet set so badly, and it was a snow on, but Santa Claus brought one, and Tom took us all out in the yard and we played croquet anyway. And I remember the sad day when he went to the Navy, because gosh, us little kids all cried. We just hated to see him go. Then he came back from the Navy. Well, you know, us little kids, we hadn't saw ice skates. We didn't really know what ice skates was, but Tom had a pair. So he's going to show us how to ice skate. So we go out to the pond, and God, he sits there and he laces them up, you know, and he stands way back here, and, you know, get out of the way. And he starts running for the pond, and it's thawed out, and the slush just goes everywhere. Oh, I shouldn't tell you. And then, you know, we always butchered our own steers and had our own meat. Well, Tom was supposed to be the expert rifleman. But we put up targets out here to shoot, and he was always missing. But we set the sights on the rifle, you know. But one day we were going to kill this steer so we could butcher it that day. And so Tom, of course, has the gun at the head of the steer. And Dick is on one side, I'm on the other, and Joycey's at the back. She said, I'm not standing back here. She was the one that wanted to run.
Have a little tell him how about the pump.
Well, yes, when we were going to butcher the hog one night. After school. Oh, we never did anything.
Yeah.
But Tom tied the mule up to the pump, and the mule started backing up and pulled the pump clear up out of the way. You can imagine Dad's words. Well, I don't know whether any of you know or not, but when Mom and Dad was going together, and they knew they were going to get married, at Christmas time, Mom gave Dad a little gift. And I want to pass this off to Tom. I've had this all this time. This is the little shaving thing. It's a little wobbly, and Louise said she's going to work on it.
Okay, who wants? I think we are.
Candy's supposed to be getting the great-grandchildren and the grandchildren of Mona Fay ready to do something here. Has she got them ready, Marcia? Okay. Brittany doesn't want the mic. She's directing the kids into where they're supposed to be standing here, and they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Did you get them ready, Brittany? Can you turn them around so Grandma can see what you say? It says Grandma.
you gotta add the beginning.
Oh, we love great grandma. Okay. Of course, it's backwards when it's around that way.
I have a little bit to add as a green.
Oh, the above generation.
And first of all, with Jared, as the great grandkids, everybody down here, he's got, you have 14 great grandchildren for Grandma, and we have a red rose for every great grandchild for her. And the grandchildren are a little old for the flashcards, so we had to kind of come up with a little bit more. So we just have our different, we have white roses, and we have for every grandchild, we have white roses. And I just had to add, because I had one little thing. Mom tried to get us to all come up with some little special thing that we all remembered about Grandma. And the only thing that I could think of is that when we were little, we always wanted to go out in shorts. Always. We were like, can we go out in shorts? And Grandma would not let us go out in shorts until it was 70 degrees outside. And so we would call time and temperature every 5 minutes and ask how hot it was. And as soon as it was 70, we could put our shorts on and go outside. So I got for Grandma a thermometer that told her she can put it on the inside of the trailer, and it tells her the inside and the outside temperature.
Okay, I have a present from all the grandchildren. It's a pillow, and what it says on it says it all. It takes someone special to be a grandmother.
Well, since we're doing the grandchildren, my child, Carl and Mary and William, had something, but they said they don't want to come up here yet, so. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Carrie's got a song that you all know that she's going to sing, and then JL has a poem that Marcia had written by a gentleman in Texas that tells about Mona and the reason for this song. Then I have a couple. Oh, the one from Stephen, excuse me, wrong child. Carl and Mary and the kids said grandmothers are special antique little girls with silver hair. Okay, as a joint effort also, we wrote a little, just something small. Grandma got her roses, and we know her roses won't last forever, so we have a little rose for her to keep. And it says, "Our dearest grandmother, a happy birthday message to you from a few of your many grandchildren and great-grandchildren," which I need to mark that out because every single one of them signed their name on this for Grandma to keep. It says, "We are a fortunate few to have a grandmother as special as you. We have enjoyed all the many gifts and the advice we have received over our many years. We will always look forward to your visits and be just a little sad when you must leave us again, but we know that you will always be back again soon for another wonderful visit. The beauty of this rose is only a shadow of the beauty and the grace that you carry with you every day. We only hope that you will cherish this rose as much as we cherish you."
You got that stop. Yeah.
Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. When through the woods and forest glades I wander, and hear the birds sing sweetly in the trees. When I look down from lofty mountain grandeur, and hear the brook and feel the gentle breeze, then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. And when I think that God his Son not sparing sent him to die, I scarce can take it in, that on the cross my burden gladly bearing, he bled and died to take away my sin. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. When Christ shall come with shout of acclamation and take me home, what joy shall fill my heart. Then I shall bow in humble adoration and there proclaim, my God, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou
Mine ain't my Chevy. That hurt. Yeah, let me take my lid.
One of you two's got to be brave enough to come up here and read that poem. JL's first. Marcia's afraid she's going to cry more than she already is.
Well, that's going to be a hard act to follow, but I'll try my best. For the ones that don't know, the ones of you who don't know who I am, I'm Marcia's next ex-boyfriend. And we all know how long that list is. Oh well. No, Marcia has graciously agreed to rent me a room in her new house that she's renting. And someone has accused us, one of the relatives have accused us of living in sin, but there's no sin about it, I'll tell you that for sure. A sacrament? Well, it's a sacrifice, but I don't know about sacrament. Without further ado, what Marcia wanted me to do, for some reason, is to make toast for Mona. So, here we go. It'll take forever. Putting all seriousness aside, Marcia has prepared a poem for her mom, about her mom, and actually about her mom and Art and the family. So I'll try to do it justice, and I just hope I don't screw it up. The Ballad of Mona Fay. Oh, listen, here's a story about Mona Fay, a Hoosier with a heart, on her 70th birthday. Mona was born in Odin in 1925. Well, that was back before modern life was even alive. She must have been the psychic one of the 10 crazy kids, because she knew what they were going to do before they even did. Farm life was hard, she said, but it was all we knew. When I see yellow tops, my thoughts turn to old Popsy, too. I took care of my siblings not long out of their cribs. Of course, the older ones than me were already fully grown kids. At Mount Nebo Church, the kids did all attend, but Dad's last word was a final amen. It was from the same high school that they all graduated, but it was down at the bowling alley that some of them dated. Down at the lanes, there was something in the air, for when Arthur picked up Mona, he picked up quite a spare. The thing in the air was a song, How Great Thou Art. Mona thought that meant him, so she gave Art her heart. The next thing you know, Mona and Art are on a date. One thing led to another, and it got quite late. So Art sent Mona the biggest bouquet he spied, the funeral nature of which made Aunt Wilma ask, who the hell died? Then Art met her children saying, what nice, quiet kids. The youth looked at each other, submitting silent bids to see who would be first to drive him crazy eventually, for the only reason they were quiet, tonsillectomies. Well, staunch Democrat was the color of the Hugunin coat, but Art turned Republican just to get Ern's goat. Then one day they loaded up the Airstream and went to Mexico, and Worked for a couple of years up in Old Yellowstone. But then they were too old for the rodents at Disneyland. Although Hawaii's nice, but the airstream would sink in the ocean's hand. Relative acres, a Pawnee long-term spot. Art built a porch, but Mona wouldn't let him stop. The grandkids made handprints to be seen by all, and a little Candy cried when she thought they painted that wall. The North and South Hugunin never reconciled, but they've tanked up on Bloody Marys and sung the gospel wild. There are no more Indians hiding beneath their beds, so God blessed them all and give them their daily bread. Mona, you've done good raising your bunch. You've given them everything and they love you so much. So Mona, you've made it all the way to 70. So let's do this all again when you're 11.
I thought Marcia was going to say something. I guess she's going not. Well, we really wanted Dad here, but he's not feeling good, so he went on home to lay down.
Well, Carly and I told him when I'm sick again. Well,
I know, that's right. So, I have a poem that he told Mother the other day that she could not have him read today. But she gave it to me so I could read it. And we really wanted him to be here. She has carried this poem around since he wrote it and gave it to her before they were married. And, okay, before they were married. And it was pretty worn, so I retyped it and laminated it so she can keep it in her purse now without tearing it up. It says, there is no mystery to love, as some incline to say. There is no curtain that is closed or partly drawn away. How can it be mysterious that I am loving you when it is so apparent that you are my dream come true? My heart belongs to you because you are so good to me, with every virtue of the soul that anyone can see. Am I a mystery to you, or is my love so strange that it is something far beyond the normal vision's range? And as you give your love to me and gently hold my hand, so there is nothing of your heart I cannot understand. Indeed, I would be sad, and I would not know what to do if anything mysterious were drawn around us too. Written by Art. My brother is back here too. Before Dad left, he said, Mom's been on him to write a new poem and get up and read it. And he already wrote it some time ago, but since he can't read it this morning, Stefan's going to try to do the honor. Neither one of us has seen this, so I have no idea.
He wrote a very short poem. I'll start at the top. To Mona. When I first came to Hoosierland, a sailor far from the sea, I was just divorced, a woman hater. That life was not for me. But then I met a lovely lass with a bowling form she had. 3 children in the background too. There must be a husband there, I said. A friend said no husband there, which filled me with delight. With this lovely damsel I did talk and had a date with her that night. Well, things went mighty fast from there. I married that farmer's daughter, retired from the Navy, got a job, and stayed away from all salt water. The kids grew up and moved away. That house was far too big for 2. So we both sold the farm and moved to town. Now that was sure a dumb thing to do. So after a long discussion, an airstream we did by, we dropped all cares and hit the road. We had more fun. Oh my. So now that she's past 70, she's as beautiful and sweet as ever. We didn't slow down. We speeded up. It could go on forever. Since I am only 39, I really am, you see. I didn't start living until I met her. She's the only one. We've all been expelling the virtues of Mona, and since I'm her son, I think she's the greatest. And I'd like to share some of her success tips with you all. And she carries them around in this little kit. And for all you up-and-coming mothers-to-be, I think you could learn a lot from Mom. Being a mother, successful mother, takes a lot of special skills. She didn't learn, or she wasn't born with all these. Some of them were handed down from her brothers and sisters, as I told you before. A lot of them, though, just come with experience. You have to have a lot of professions to be a mother, and one of those is being sort of a nurse and doctor. And she was always there to pick me up when I scraped my knees from falling off my bicycle, or running through the yard barefooted and stepping on bumblebees after she already told me not to do that. So always have a first aid kit available. Also, another quality of a good mother is being a good cook, and there's some recipe cards. She makes and still makes some of the best chocolate chip cookies in the world. Somewhere along the line, she thought that I liked ginger snaps, that I preferred ginger snaps. Well, I don't. Let me tell you, I prefer chocolate chip cookies. Also, along with that, of course, she's, like I said, a great cook, so you have to have an oven mitt and apron and a little dish towel there, so that goes along with that. Not that this happens very often, but you have to be a referee. You have to be a referee to keep the kids from fighting. My sisters seldom, if ever, fought. So I don't know what happened to the grandchildren and why they're fighting every once in a while. But you should always have a little whistle so you can break it up and be a referee. And that's one of the things that makes you number one mother and grandmother. And also you have to be very handy with a thimble and a needle and thread, and you've seen examples. If there's anybody here that doesn't have anything that Mona's ever made, I'm sure she's probably making it right now. And last of all, you have to be a very good time manager. My mom was always there for me. She knew when to intercede, give me a little direction. She knew when not to also. You learn, you grow up. Sometimes you have to fall down and scratch yourself up. So that's another good thing to have.
I think we've done about as much to Mona as we can do. We're going to turn over to Peggy and Joetta and the boys to see how bad they can treat their father as bad as we treated our lovely mother.
Tell us to kill us if we treat him bad. Said we kept them.
I don't know. I can see up there.
Okay, all the nice stuff is over now. Gotta get all the little kids out of here. Do you want something? Okay, back probably 10, 12 years at least ago, we met Tom and Louise and them up at Lake Powell, which is up on the North Arizona border with Utah. Large water impoundment. And we were going to spend a week up there. Well, like I found out since then that every time we go out with them to go fishing, play golf, if you know anything about Tom, you know that everything he does well, especially when it comes to sports. But the fishing, he gets really a little carried away with. And that particular time we were out fishing, and I can remember one day in particular. We were fishing for stripers. We were just going along trolling. We both had the same rig, same rod, same reel, same line, same lures, everything. And he'd catch them. I was sitting in the same boat. I didn't get anything. So even he started to feel bad about it. So he said, "Here, Ken," he said, "you take my rod and I'll take yours." So then he started catching them on the rod he had. And I found out that ever since then, every time I go out fishing with him, it's still the same way. We went and played golf this week while we were here. And now he's complaining because I beat him. But yet he's the one that set the handicap. While we were up there at Lake Powell, we decided one day that we wanted to take Peggy out for a ride in the boat. And while we were out there, noticed this large cabin cruiser comes along, and laying out on the bow of this cabin cruiser is this beautiful bronze decorator item, I guess you would call it, and not a stitch of clothes on. Tom remarked that he'd like to have something like that for his boat. Well, every time that we have went fishing, he's always managed to mention that somehow. Matter of fact, just yesterday, when we were over at May and Charlie's, he was talking about he wanted to turn the little beach down there that the kids were swimming in. He wanted to turn that into a nudist beach. And then he said, "And you never did ever get me that thing for my boat." Well, I've looked high and low for that, and I'll tell you, Tom, it's really, really hard to find a nude bronze boat ornament. I've looked in catalogs and everywhere, and it's very hard to find. But I did come up with something that at least you can set on your dresser, and it'll give you some pleasure, maybe. I knew that was coming. This is for you. Travel.
Open that. No. Can you say it all? Patrick?
You know, he said if we picked on him, he was going to kick me and Tom out of the house, so I got to be real nice to him. What? What? I'm just going to tell one story here. Be real nice about it. When I was at the reunion in '86, I had my driver's license for about a year. And May wanted me to go down to the store and get some milk, I believe. I think that's what we needed to get. And May told me how to get there. And like a typical Hugunin, I ignored her, but I figured out I'd get there. Well, I figured I knew how to get there. I'd never been there in my entire life, but I figured I just know how to get there by instinct. I got down there okay. It was just getting back was the problem. So I got lost for a good hour and a half or so. And in the process, I kind of dented up the rental car that we had. Not very much, mind you, but I did dent the rental car. And the whole time, as I'm driving back and I finally found my way back, I'm worried he's going to kill me because I dented the car. I come out of the car, and I'm crying, and I'm like, Dad, I hit the car. And Dad's like, I don't care about the car, son. I care about you. That's the nicest thing my father's ever said to me. I'm sorry. It didn't kill me either.
This will be a really tough one to follow up.
I told you should have went first, Chris.
Over the years, if there's one thing my dad has taught me, it's respect. I've always respected him and his wishes. I may not have always agreed with him, and that's probably pretty obvious if you know my past. But I dearly loved him. Everything he ever taught me, I try to pass on to my own son, so that his family, and there will be a family, will have just as much respect for him. I love my father.
Be really hard to follow. Yeah. Don't blame me.
Well, I really don't have too many stories. Thank goodness, right? but I do have one. I used to go visit Daddy on a regular basis when I was a little girl, and he always took me to the computer room. And I got to play with the data entry machine and watch those magnetic tapes rock back and forth. And I was just mesmerized with it all. And wouldn't you know it, I grew up. I'm in data processing too. But there is two things I know about my dad. He likes to fish and he likes to golf. So.
That's right. That's right.
Tommy, you gonna say this?
Ken, shut up. Good things in mice are removable. Dad, I have a question here. I can't remember this. Nobody in our family can remember. How many cross-country trips have we gone on?
Just two.
You sure now?
We brought the Volkswagen bus, and we brought the tent trip.
What were those about? Maybe 5, 7 years apart or something like that? I forget.
Try 10.
10 years, huh? And didn't we go on vacation every year afterwards?
Almost, yes, somewhere.
And weren't you supposed to relax on all those vacations?
Well, I mean, it'd been nice if you could.
You know, we were in a VW microvan at least the first 5 years, wasn't it like that?
Something like that, yes.
And the 3 boys in a VW microvan with no air conditioning, and it's hot. What are you going to do, kids? You're gonna fight. Right?
Right.
Right. Yeah. Hey, come on, Chris. Yeah, you fight. I'm sure I stuck an elbow in your face one time. You know, and what was the threat you were always threatening us with?
I was going to spank you all.
With what, Dad?
My belt.
What color was the belt, Dad?
I couldn't tell you.
You can do better than that.
Black.
He was always going to whip us with the black belt. Never did. But he always threatened us.
In his case, he should have.
He always threatened us, you know. What was the other pension that for some reason you seem to end up breaking parts of your body? What did I do that annoyed you the most?
I don't really want to talk about that.
Come on, Dad. You don't know what I did. What did I do?
You really want me to tell all of this?
Sure.
Well, you know, Ken was talking about going up to Lake Powell.
We'll start back further back
Well,
than that.
I'm going to pass a few things that go to that because it was best of all. So we head up to Lake Powell. I have a truck with a 24-foot trailer behind it. Tommy had the Mustang with my boat. And we're out here in the middle of nowhere, and he's supposed to meet us at Kramer Junction. We pull into Kramer Junction and we sit there for an hour, and finally he shows up. And he says, well, the Mustang has been overheating, but I fixed it. And he said, I got this cowl and put on the radiator so I could blow more air through it. So I said, fine. I didn't look. We fired up and started. And this thing came off. The fan went through the radiator. And there we sat. We got it all fixed after 2 days. And then on the very last day, they took me down, they dumped the boat in the ocean, and I mean in the lake, and I'm going fishing. And he's supposed to take the trailer and the truck back up to the mobile home place. I come in at the time that they were supposed to pick me up. There's no trailer. There's no truck. Plus the Mustang was there. And he decided that he was going to take a tour of the countryside. And come to find out, he went up in the countryside where it looked like a nice road and put the truck up his axle in mud. So that was that trip. I won't even talk about the rest of it.
As you see, as kids, we try to give him as hard a time as humanly possible and break everything he's had. I mean everything. Everything you saw in that photo was electronic. I took it apart. Everything. They'll all attest to it. Wilma was there, took apart the TV, took apart the radio, you name it, I've taken it apart. And you know, over the years, you know, he's threatened me, he's hit me, and chased me around the yam yard. It was fun. I wouldn't have it any other way, I don't think. He's also trained me to do things maybe the right way, something that I appreciate later on in life. As Chris said, you know, we did learn something from him. So, I don't know, you know, he seems like a great father to me. Sometimes we don't tell him that, especially when he's on the couch, horizontal. He always is. But we do love him dearly. So Dad, it's not your birthday yet, but fairly soon, maybe in a year. Oh yeah, he claims we're buying him golf clubs for his birthday. I don't know about this. I never signed up for it at all. But I guess he's going to extort the money out of us somehow. I don't know, probably threaten me with the boat. Happy birthday, Dad. I love you.
Anybody else?
That's it.
I think we've got a few cousins that's got something for either Tom or Mona or both. Bill, you want to start? And I think Marcia had. So if any of the cousins has got something, if you want to come on up this way, we'll put the finishing touches to today.
Tom? Yeah. Tom? I know you're a Navy veteran. I wanted to get you something on the last ship I was on, and so I got you this shirt. But one of the things I noticed, I looked at your Navy record before I came here, and I noticed that you'd spent 28 months in the Navy, but I couldn't see anything on there about any. They didn't reward you for going to sea or anything. So I thought I'd right that wrong and present you the Sea Service ribbon. Yeah, turn around.
Turn around. Turn around.
Oh, just take this apart.
And Mona, when I was growing up, I really enjoyed coming to Crane and visit you and play with the kids. And one of the things I noticed, we'd go up to visit, and you and Art would take off and go mushroom hunting. And what I couldn't understand is why you always took a blanket with you. So I understand you still like to go mushroom hunting. I'd like to present you a new blanket. And so you don't get distracted, I'd like to show you what you're looking for.
I don't remember a lot about Tom because he took off and left us, but I always heard that he told the windiest stories of anybody in the family.
A wind tunnel.
I forgot this. I'm not organizing things.
Tom used to read us stories too, and they have a new Dr. Seuss book, You're Only Old Once. Okay, I don't have any stories, but I just want to wish you both a happy birthday, and I love you both.
Look there, Snyder's Mill. In two sizes. Only been to 1925. I can know what happened on my birthday.
What's in there? What's in there? Oh, no, Helen's got the bag in there. I'm
Snyder's pretzels. I believe that concludes our ceremony for today. So we didn't sing happy birthday. My daughter just reminded me. Of course, if we're singing happy birthday, you have to sing it to everyone here, because I think we have 49s and 50s, 59s and 60s, 69s and 70s. We hit them all.
Why do you guys use all those numbers? Why do you make them all 39?
Or we can be like like Dad and be 39 forever. Of course, I think he's 39 times 2 now. Yeah. So.
Get started. I can't say
Well.
We'll sing it.
Okay?
Stand up, happy, stand up.
Stretch. Okay. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, God bless you. Happy birthday to you.
I didn't prepare a speech, but you know how I feel about all my family. I love them dearly, and I'm just so proud that all of you came, even though as hot as it is. So, it's cool today, yeah. So anyway, thank you, and may we all get together in what, 4 more years? 4 more years?
We're not going to get 6 years old.
Well, I did prepare a speech.
Get comfortable, everybody.
I've worked on it for 6 months on my computer. I did everything right. And it's going to take about 30 minutes. But yesterday I was informed that my time limit was 2. So I have taken a match to it and burned it up.
Sit down.
I would like I would like to say that I appreciate all of this, that I love you all very much, and we must get together and do it all again first.
All right.
Somewhere beyond the blue, the angels beckon me to heaven's open door, and I can't feel at home in this world anymore. Oh Lord, you know I have no friend like you. If heaven's not my home, oh Lord, what will I do? The angels beckon me heaven's open door, and I can't feel at home in this world anymore. 7. 7. I want to be the
Marcia and I want to pass on to Nancy and Linda and Bill the responsibility, and Janet, yeah, we got to add Janet on this one because the next one's going to be a joint. Helen and May want us to do a joint one, and I don't know if it was official last night or not, but we kind of had a meeting at the OT last night. At the OT. And they'd like to do it in the year 2000. That's 5 rounded years. That's our centennial. It should be a good, nice year to celebrate birthdays and the change of the century. May wants you to let her know what pictures you want, copies, and then she can take care of getting the money and getting them to you. I want to thank everybody for coming. I think we've had a real good time. I know it's been a long day and a long weekend. Okay, get with May on the photo.
The old man go for smoke break.
So, I think that's it.